Joining me live is Green Senator Barbara Pocock, also Chair of the Senate Committee for Work and Care, looking at some of these very issues. It's interesting because cost is spoken about a lot, and that's a factor. But for many, it's just being able to access any childcare, and like a lot of things, the more remote you get, the less available care is.
Exactly.
What has the committee found on this?
We've heard a lot from people across the country about what people are now calling childcare deserts. That is, there is nothing available, no places available, lots of kids and parents looking for care. So definitely alongside costs, that's a big issue, but also quality, you know, having consistent staff there who are paid properly and turning up regularly to give the quality of care that our kids need. So a bunch of complex issues there.
Some of the areas aren't surprising, and I'm not saying that's fine, but they're not surprising, you know, really remote areas. I guess the solution normally here is community-run centres, because the normal model of just a not-for-profit or for-profit doesn't work. So what's happening there? Why don't we have enough of the community centres?
We really need to look to our remote and regional areas because, for example, for our First Nations kids, quality early learning is really important. So we need to increase our investment and reach out to the areas that don't have enough care right now. But it's not just remote areas, it's our cities as well. Our childcare system, we are hearing on the Work and Care Committee, is really struggling.
What sort of areas are the so-called deserts? Are they outer suburbs? Like, can you take Melbourne or Sydney, for example?
Outer suburbs, the edges of cities,
right.
Regional towns and certainly remote areas. But there's a lot of them. They are spread around and we really need to change our planning of our childcare system.
Harder to what? Find a centre, find workers?
A lot of kids looking for care and not enough places, basically. Yeah.
When it's described as 3 kids per one place in some of these areas, does that mean all 3 of the parents of those kids are actually looking for a spot, or do we not know how many spots they would fill?
We know the demand is such that there's 3 kids.
Right.
So childcare centres often keep lists of kids, parents looking for care, and many of those centres have got very long lists of kids.
So in these areas, let's say we're talking outer Western Sydney, outer Western Melbourne, have literally for each spot available 3 on their waiting lists at the moment.
Well, this comes from a piece of research which points to those deserts. I mean, I think what we've got is some people who can't get the care they need for the days they need it. They can't get enough days, and some kids can't get any care at all. So it's a complex issue that varies according to where you are.
Okay. I mean, the solution for some people is a government-run option, but it almost feels like the horse is bolted. I mean, there's such a big system that's propped up in the past sort of 10 or 20 years. Is that still a viable option?
It's definitely essential that we have a government role in planning and in some cases provision, because without that we simply will not get the early childhood education and care system that we need.